All right, baby. Welcome back to the BOYZINTHESIP Show, brought to you by Haik, Mississippi. And we got a good show today, sir. We got a good one. We got a good guest coming on, Mr. Keith, the manager of Sportsbook at Ameristar. And he'll be coming on here pretty soon. Haik, I mean, it's somebody you've been working with for a long time, and they are as good as it comes. They're the best when it comes to cars and buying cars. I mean, I wouldn't want to go anywhere else. I mean, we went and talked to him the other day, and he was like, the 1,000 people they asked, about buying cars, and they said out of 1,000, 84% said they'd rather have a root canal than go through the process of buying a car.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, because I was telling him, I bought plenty of cars in my life. And I was like, man, that was the one thing. I just hated going in there and going through that whole process. But with them, when I bought this, I call it the Bullmobile. And when I bought it from them, it was the easiest process I've ever been through. And the people were just so nice. And they have some really nice vehicles. And if they don't have it, they will get it for you as quick as they can. And they're going to work with you on finances, on ways to do things, and do everything they can to get you in that vehicle.
Yep.
And so we're excited to be partnered up with Haik and be sponsored by them. And I think that's going to be a really good relationship because Ryan was, that meeting yesterday, he's our type of guy.
He's a lifer, man.
Yeah.
I've been working with him for almost 3 years and played tons of golf with him.
Yep.
He's gold, man.
And then Haik, actually, that's, the owner. Mm-hmm. And, he's got Mississippi ties. He
played receiver at Ole Miss.
Yeah. And so, we're all about the SIP. So right there, it's a perfect little partnership. It's going to be fun. We're fine. We're getting there. I told y'all we're going to get there, and we're getting there.
No doubt.
We got a lot of good, exciting news coming up. We just landed something really big this morning.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all are going to love it. Y'all are going to love it. That's all I can tell you. This is going to be some good content. So, it's just exciting. We got Christmas coming up. We got a lot of new merch that we're about to put out. Austin's been working hard on designing new merch for us, and so I'm gonna start posting it, and we're getting all that ready because Christmas is coming up. So y'all be looking for merch. It's the easiest Christmas gift ever. It's gonna be around anywhere from $20 to $80. The perfect Christmas gift. We'll ship it right to you, and everybody who doesn't like a good hoodie, a good T-shirt, a good hat, stuff like that for Christmas. So y'all be paying attention to all this new merch we're about to put out. And but this guest we got coming on, we're just gonna get in and talk about some football, and we're gonna teach the crowd about lines, about line movement, all kind of stuff. He's gonna help us out. He's got some good insight on what he thinks, because he gets to see it every single day. Sports betting every single day. He's the manager of the sports book.
Yep.
So he knows a lot. And what I like about it is the way me and you are. You're a trend guy, and I am a lot of a feel, but I predict a lot of stuff on line movement, how lines move, why lines where it's at. So stuff like that, he's gonna be really good. And his name's Keith again, and we'll have him on here in just a little bit. But it's exciting, man. It really is, and I can't wait to keep going, doing what we're doing, because we ain't stopping. That's what we always say.
You try to tell them
we ain't stopping. We're gonna keep going.
Where the boys at? Where the boys at? Come on, baby!
Over the weekend, I think I almost killed myself. Sorry.
you weren't looking good.
Yeah, we over the weekend I went swimming, and I had my little daughter and her little friends, and then you know how it is. You got kids, and of course all the kids in the neighborhood here, they come, and we're still swimming, and it's October. They don't care. It's cold, whatever. But get these two boys over there. They're probably, I think they're like 13, something like that. And I just wanted to, you know, they're trying to see who's the best. We're playing basketball in the pool. We're swimming, all that kind of stuff. They're trying to see who can swim the farthest. Back in the day, before I, you know, became a big bull, I could go down their back underwater. And they're trying to go sideways. I said, man, I can go down their back, no problem. They're like, no, you can't. So I do it. And I really, literally did it. Pushed myself to do it. And I thought I was going to die.
Oh, I bet. You didn't realize how your oxygen had run out of your body.
I thought I was going to die. And then I get out in the front yard playing ball with these two. One of them's an old buddy of mine, Kevin Dooley's son, Tucker. And we're balling in the yard playing football. I'm talking about we're getting after it. Mm-hmm. And, you know, just had a blast. I love seeing young bulls in the making. And these two kids were so athletic. And Tucker, you can tell, is going to be a bull. He's quarterback. They hadn't lost a game this year. And we were running routes and stuff. And I think, then I get down here and I told you, man, I guess I pushed my heart too far or something. Because I wasn't feeling good the last few days. I wasn't feeling good the last few days.
I popped in here Tuesday to record, and I looked at you, and you weren't feeling good. Yeah. I said, we calling it off. And within 30 minutes, I had you at the ER.
Yep. And we're all good.
But the doctor said your heart was perfect.
Oh, he said it's a big bull
said
heart.
Your nail beds were good. You're hydrated. You're just having a little panic attack.
Yep. Yeah, look, you live a life like me and you might have a panic attack every now and then. Yep. I'm telling you. Somebody's asking, what y'all's podcast about? I said, man, we're two 40-year-old men that have very interesting lives.
Yep.
And, you know, we got families, we got kids, but we're still out here, like our motto, always roaring. So, and
to the end, baby.
So that is what our podcast is. Two 40-year-old men with very interesting lives that have done a lot in their life. They like to play golf, like to sports bet, and like to roar. So, but anyway, we're gonna see if we can get. Let's see if we can get Keith on right now and see if we can start into that. You got us.
I got you.
There we go. Beautiful. There we go. All right, I've already introduced him before he came on, but this is Keith. He's a manager of the Sportsbook Ameristar, and we're so happy he came on, man. I was just saying, we're just two 40-year-old guys that love to sports bet, play golf, try to help our crowd out with anything we can. And we've been going over to Ameristar, placing some bets, and we've met Keith, and he knows a lot. So we're like, dude, you want to come on and hang out with some guys and, you know, see if we can teach this crowd a little something about sports betting, try to help, because everybody needs help in this part, because it seems like this year has been really hard to pick. So we'll start. I don't know if you know this, Keith. We do a prediction every week. Will likes to pick 2 or 4 games. That's the way he does. I usually like to just pick one, and I like to slug it. Like, I like to just bet big. Will's more 2 and 4. Will starts out 11-0 this year. And
wow.
11-0, and these people are going crazy trying to get his picks.
I bet.
But he loses last week. He put 2 out and he lost both of them.
I'm 1-3 the last 2 weeks.
1-3 the last 2 weeks, but you know how people are. You lose 2 and then they think you can't do nothing. It's like, what about the first 11 in a row, you know?
Right.
So I had a slug last week. I took Washington, and that was a pretty good game. But where were you on
Commanders?
Wait,
Commanders or Huskies?
Huskies. I took the Huskies.
Yep. We were big on Washington in our group.
Yeah, I like that one. That was a play that I had that I liked.
Yep.
I just to let you guys know, full disclosure, I'm a big Rutgers fan.
Oh, I love it.
Okay.
I love it. They're pretty good this year, aren't they?
Yeah, they're great. They haven't lost yet. Oh,
yep.
Touch wood.
Yeah. Hell yeah. You know us sports bettors.
Well, wait. I'm sorry. They did lose, but they covered the spread.
Yes, that's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
That is
That's
all that matters. We don't care. A win is covering the spread in the sports betting world.
Yeah,
I promise you. But we're glad to have you on. We're gonna pick your brain a little bit. I know it's early. We're on Thursday, and so it's early. You've probably seen a few bets come in, but your heavy action is not going to come in till tomorrow and then Saturday. Correct?
That's correct.
Yeah. So I mean, on a good Saturday, I know y'all are busy, but I mean, you're seeing a lot of people come in. Tell us, we were talking with you before the show, talking about line movement, and so y'all are owned by ESPN Bet. Is that correct?
Well, okay. So Ameristar is owned by Penn Entertainment.
Penn, that's right. Okay.
And Penn Entertainment has a partnership with ESPN Bet.
Correct. Okay. Yep.
Gotcha.
But ESPN Bet is mobile wagering. And that is not here in Mississippi just yet.
That's right. Okay, now that just gets me right into the question I was going to ask.
Yeah, because it bothers you.
Yeah, it has bothered me. And why do you think, Mississippi's holding off on online gambling being legal in Mississippi? And my take is just, I felt like the casinos were holding us off. You had a little different, take, and it made sense. So just kind of tell us why you think Mississippi hadn't gone to it yet.
Well, and Mississippi was the first state after Nevada to have sports betting, right? 2018. I mean, even before New Jersey, right? So they've been on the forefront of wanting sports betting. But the mobile wagering is being held up by smaller casinos. The small casinos, they rely on the foot traffic that sports bettors bring. When you go into a casino to place your bet, you'll have a burger, a beer, play a slot machine. And so that residual, that foot traffic, that's revenue for the casino. And so as well as the sports betting revenue. So by them partner, and also these small casinos don't have the infrastructure to have online gaming themselves. They would have to partner with a FanDuel, a DraftKings, an ESPN Bet. And so those guys are going to take the lion's share of the profits. So the profits that they get from partnering with one of these big companies isn't as much as the profit that they make from the foot traffic that comes in.
Yeah.
So that's why it hasn't passed, in my opinion, why it hasn't passed through the legislature, because these types of bills, they need all the casinos on board.
Yeah.
In order to pass, so that's what's been holding it up.
Yeah. It makes sense.
Yeah, that does make sense.
I just hope, one day they can, I feel like it will be one day. I don't know when, when they can figure it out, but I feel like it's coming. I think
it is.
Yeah.
It is coming. One of the proposals, from what I understand, is that the smaller casinos want, a better deal.
Yeah, that's correct. They got to figure the deal out.
Yep.
Right. So, and isn't that what it always comes down to? How are we going to split the money? Right.
It's always about the money. You show me the money, and you can't leave the little guys out just because we don't ever want to leave the little guys out.
Nah.
Right.
Mississippi's all about the little guy.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. That Penn Gaming, that's the one that a while back.
Barstools and then sold it back for $1.
Yeah, they bought. I don't know if do you know that story? They.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I guess.
Yeah.
I think it was because they joined up with ESPN Bet, and they just ESPN and the content Barstools did, it just didn't work. You can't be with Barstools, so they were like, well, we want to be with ESPN Bet, so they were like they
gave it back away.
Give me $1 and have it back. Sold it for $550 million and bought it back for $1.
Best deal of all time.
Yeah, talking about deals. So, but anyway, let's just start. You got some games you want to talk about, and that'll kind of lead us into maybe talking about some line movement, different thing. What's jumping out to you this week, if anything is, and why?
Kentucky.
Kentucky.
A little bit of a Vanderbilt hangover, right?
Correct.
That's my thought. Let's see. I had a couple. I'm big on USC this week. They're playing Penn State. Penn State hasn't been impressive in my opinion.
Offense.
And so I kind of like Penn State's a home dog.
Yeah.
They're catching 4 points. So you want to give me a Penn State, USC, and USC is the home dog.
Yeah.
You want to give me USC and a field goal? I'm happy to take it. Haven't been impressed with Penn State. I like BYU, but the line has moved.
Okay.
We were looking at it opened at 5.5, and it's down to 4. And when that happens, I'm a little leery.
Yeah.
It makes me think maybe some sharp money drove that line down. So I'm a little leery of that one. Let's see. First of all, guys, I love the dogs.
Yeah.
Right. I'm a big underdog favorite fan. So another one I'm looking at is Oregon. Oregon's at home getting 3.5 against Ohio State.
Yep.
And Ohio State hasn't been impressive, in my opinion. They haven't played anyone.
Correct.
This is their first test. Going out to Oregon, you get a win in Oregon, right? The way that fan base turns out. I'm getting a field goal. I'm going to take it.
I like it.
Me too.
I mean, you work at a sports book. You know that most of managers and people that run a sports book like the dogs. I mean, because they see it all the time. Everybody likes chalk. I mean, it's hard for anybody to take dogs. And he's right, man. You can't be scared, and you're getting points. You're a winner until you're a loser, just like betting under.
Yeah. You hear me always talk about situations, numbers. I mean, that's what Keith just talked about. Situation, Kentucky, Vandy, letdown game. Just like Navy earlier this year when we took them against Memphis after they beat Florida State, we were loaded because we were like, there's no way they can get up 2 weeks in a row.
Correct.
And they got to travel back to back. So Vandy, that's just a good situation.
Well, it's like Keith said. I mean, Vanderbilt didn't quit partying until Monday.
Yeah. Right. They hadn't practiced yet, hardly.
They already, and then and even the coach said it when they were like, I'm fixing to enjoy this.
Yeah.
I'm fixing to enjoy this. So, I mean, their minds did not get back on Kentucky until probably Tuesday, I would say, and then you look at Kentucky this year is good.
Yeah.
I mean, they are really good. I went to the game, Ole Miss, Kentucky.
Because they're well coached, man. I mean, he's so underrated. I mean, look at how bad he out-coached Kiffin. I mean, so now you're bringing in the eye test. Because I agree with Keith 100%. I had Penn State, 2 weeks ago, along with LSU, 2 huge favorites at home. Penn State's defense is pretty good.
Yes.
But they cannot score. Like, they can't score. So I like that. Just off the eye test. And then the other ones are numbers. In the same way, though, Ohio State, I agree. They haven't been impressive. That number does, kind of weird me out a little bit.
Yeah.
And I think the public's own Oregon there. But then again, it's like, the public doesn't lose every game.
Yeah, Kentucky's
and
off
Oregon,
a bye.
and I think Oregon's better. I just think Oregon's better than Ohio State.
Yeah.
But,
Is that where game day is this week? Probably, I would imagine.
I'm not sure. It would be there or Ole Miss LSU.
Yeah, no, it's not.
No,
it's
not there. It's not there.
Oh, we would have heard that already.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, hold on. It may be because it's the night game, 6:30 night game.
I'm gonna look it up real quick. Let's see, where is game day this week?
And then I heard, yesterday that Trey Harris wasn't playing. Is Trey Harris playing for Ole Miss this week?
No, he's out.
Yeah, that's bad. That's bad for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
LSU's
and there's another dog I like. I like LSU. Catching the field goal at home You know, and I did want to say something. There's an old bookie saying about the underdogs. The bookie, he likes to bet the underdog and the under.
Yep.
It's because he's winning before the game even starts.
That's correct.
That's
Correct.
a fact.
Winning until you lose. Just
Right.
Shirt. We need to. I've seen that shirt basically. Betting unders, you're winning before you till you lose. But LSU at home.
LSU, I noticed, and why I took them a couple weeks ago because they didn't play that well against UCLA. I was like, they're just inconsistent, but when they're on, they can beat anybody.
Correct.
So if they find that consistent game, they're going to beat Ole Miss.
At night.
Now they're coming off a bye, so they should be real organized, ready to go. Granted, I don't always like coming off a bye because if the shit goes bad early, it stays bad usually. They're in disarray. You come in with the plan, do you get hit in the mouth or till your plan doesn't work?
Yeah. Your plan don't work right away.
It wouldn't surprise me either way in that game.
Yeah.
If even if somebody won by double digits, either way wouldn't surprise me. Or it wouldn't surprise me if it came down to the very end.
And need to find out if Trey Harris is playing or not. I mean, I've heard he wasn't, but that's going to be a big key to Ole Miss. And then just going to LSU at night. I mean, I talked about going to the game, Keith. I don't know if you've ever been to
I have.
LSU. You have? Well,
Yes.
Well, I told Will's like, if we go, we're not wearing Ole Miss stuff. He said, because you will get into a fight.
Oh, I mean, I saw Archie Manning get a whiskey bottle thrown at him down, back when Kevin Falk and Herb Tyler were there. Yeah. They're beating us by 40, so the Ole Miss whole section clears out. We're down there in like the fourth row in our little box in that corner at Tiger Stadium. And Archie, Olivia, Eli, and I want to say Cooper. And Peyton wasn't there because Cooper was at every game, loves the Rebels. And I guess some LSU fans spotted him because we had nobody left hardly watching.
Yeah.
And they were like, oh, there's Archie. And like, you just hear airplane bottles. I mean, just boom, boom, boom. I'm like, oh my God, get us out of here. I was crying. And
they
I was
say
like
the kids,
8 years old, 12 years old.
The kids will just walk right up to you and just double bird you. Just like, I'm like, dude, I'm not doing that. I'm going to.
They'll cook a damn alligator right there at the stake. You hang him up with, and cook him when they're playing Florida.
Yeah.
Nuts, man.
And they're after us too because, I mean, when we got them on game day, that year Katy Perry came, we're doing the corn dogs and we rushed the field. And we beat them last year at home in an unbelievable game.
The Rebs always play LSU good, even as a dog. We talked about it last year. Auburn was our kryptonite. We've only beat them 4 times in 25 years.
Yeah. So, that's probably a pretty good little, and I got a key to our fans or to people that follow us, whatever. Sports betting, and I know you'll back this up. You cannot bet with your heart. You can't do it. You can't if you love a team and you just love them. I've lost more money on Ole Miss than any team ever. And the Braves. Yeah. Because I love the Braves and I love Ole Miss. Not saying sometimes I will fade them, but when I fade them, they put
screw
me down.
You the other way.
And when I get on them, they go. So you just a lot of times I try to stay away from betting with my heart. But that LSU. I love, give me, it's 3.5 now. What is it? You say?
Right. We've got it at 3.5. And so I'm going to, I can see you guys are Ole Miss fans, but I'm on the other side in this one. Hey, I'm getting a field goal, so you guys can win. Just don't win by more than 3.
There you go.
I think the money's going to be on Ole Miss because they just won big last week. Even though if you watch the game, it wasn't great. Our defense is just good. South Carolina's got no passing game. But, LSU hadn't done anything impressive. So there's nothing to make anybody want to bet on them, public-wise, the common person.
Correct.
Watching ESPN is going to go bet on Ole Miss.
LSU barely got out of South Carolina with a win.
Yeah. They would have lost if the quarterback would have gotten hurt. They'd have lost.
Right.
Shit, they would have got killed.
Yes.
They were getting killed. They would have stayed there.
Correct.
That was
one game, Keith, I like to bet second halves, okay? And that was a game. All right, here's what happened. So what I like to do, Keith, is I like to watch the first half, and I was taught this by a professional sports bettor and he's in Los Angeles. He was actually one of the first ones that started up Pinnacle Sports. He was one of the owners. But he had a program that literally showed you live. I mean, you can go look on your phone live, but he had where every game and had everything you wanted to look for that happened in the first half, you know, that you can go find, but you have to go individual game. This was right in front of your face, and he was real big on teams that were dominating, rushing the ball, okay? So they were dominating and just could pick up yards rushing. And so let's just say an underdog, like South Carolina was in that game, just a little bit. So the first half, you know, they're dominating LSU, and they're rushing the ball good. And so it comes a halftime line, and the dog's winning. So that's what I'm looking for a lot. And they're dominating rushing. And there's a lot of other things to look at, but you're going to be getting points, okay? Obviously. All right. So here comes the line out, and I'm telling you, 98% of the time when this happens, let's just say, you know, it comes out, you're getting, you know, a lot of times you're getting a half a point to 3 points, and what's another big thing is getting the ball second half. So you're getting the ball and you're getting points, and you dominated first half, but obviously you're gonna get points because you were the dog before the game. This one comes out, and that LSU, it starts going towards LSU hard, and I'm like, okay, that's not normal. That's not normal because it's a favorite. They're getting dominated. And, you know, so I knew something was up, and that was just kind of brings me into reverse line movement before. When it happens before the game, and you know the public's on one side, all right, and the line's going the other way. Is that because there is just some really, really sharp money that has placed a large amount on that team, even though the public, most of the money is on the other side? And what do you think about that?
Right. Correct. Right. So when you see, you know how these sites like Covers, just there's a bunch of them out there, they can tell you where the public money is. Correct. Right. And the bets. And when you see, wow, this team's getting 80% of the money, 80% of the bets, but then the line moves the opposite direction. Right. Like if a team is -3, everybody's on them. It should be going to 3.5. Yeah. Why would it go to 2.5? And that's because large chunks of money have come in the other way. We call that reverse line movement. And there are a lot of guys that's what they look for. Right. So, you know, a lot of sharp guys just auto fade the public. Correct. Right. If they see, 80% of the public is on this team, I'm going the other way. Yeah. You know, right. It's an auto fade. And another thing we have, it's called steam. Yep. Have you guys heard of steam? Right.
Oh yeah.
Right. Right. So when you see a lot of guys will follow the steam. Right. So the line is at 3, then it goes to 3.5, then it goes to 4. So that steam is moving the line. And so guys will bet in that direction. But you want to be careful when the steam moves through a football number.
Yep. Correct. Will's talked about that.
Yep. Right. So if you're -6.5 and the team is taking it, the steam has taken it to -7 or -7.5, it may be too late to follow the steam because it's a football number. But if it's 4 and it's gone to 5, well, you're not looking at a football number.
Correct.
So that's a safer place to follow the steam.
Yeah. Yeah.
If I'm making sense, guys.
Yeah.
No, it makes sense.
No doubt. Technology's made steam impossible to follow.
Yeah.
Like the old days, you call in on the phone and they don't really know what's going on. There's not all these computers wired across the country. Move it. You know, they see that chunk come in, that just a little delay.
Yep.
The steam is what's made us have to go bet at the windows, Keith.
Oh yeah.
When Keith, you throw the steam into the site, they're done with you.
Yeah, Keith, I got a hold. Several times in my life, I've got a hold of steam before, and I'm telling you, I was actually got the plays beforehand, and it was actually a group out of Australia, and we were betting NBA halftimes. And so, but just like you said, moving across a number, but they were so precise if it came out, and let's just say they would know what they were looking for before the halftime number came out. They would say, okay, we're looking for 101. We're going to play under 101 at minus 108 because they're all over the country, So I can get it minus 110. They would say no, minus 108. That's how precise they were, And it took me a little bit to, it's like, man, what's it matter? Yeah. Well,
right.
Even the little 2-cent juice mattered to them. The half a point at first, I was like, well, man, I can get 101 and I can get 100.5. It's fine. No, I mean they just kept on telling me, no. If we tell you it's that number or better, and we had the only way we could do it was by robots. All right, and just to give the audience some knowledge, a robot is where you can put it in what you're looking for into computer, okay? And then obviously all the sites that you can play on, you just put in, let's just say it was Bulls Celtics under 101 in second half. So you have that loaded into the computer. That's what you want to bet. And right when that line comes out, you press a button and it plays it in every account that you want it to play in, and it's only going to play it at that number. So if it doesn't come out at that number, it won't play it, but you're obviously, which you got to be fast in those when you're playing Steam because the line, it's going to move. I mean, it's going to move, and it's going to move fast. And
especially at a halftime.
Oh, yeah. It's going to move fast.
It's impossible without the bot.
Yeah, correct. I mean, you can't even, like if I was just sitting there up at Ameristar with you and I knew I had a really good second half play, I mean, I could be standing at the window. I could tell the attendant what you call them, what I want. And by the time she put it in, it's moved.
Right.
And they have to go by what. So if I say, let's just say, I want Kentucky minus 13 this week. I hand them the money, and as they're putting it in, it moves. They have to go off that line, correct?
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep. Yeah.
The computer won't take it.
Yeah, computer won't take it.
Right.
So, or if the juice moved, well, sir, it moved. And a lot of people I've had that happen to me several times. They're like, well, I just told you I wanted this. No, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. This is what the computer, y'all go off what the computer it goes off. And then tell me this, Keith, somebody comes in to place a large wager. Tell us the process. Let's just say somebody comes to you and wants to bet $20,000 on Kentucky this week. Obviously, if they're a known player, y'all probably, it gets done pretty fast. But if somebody just comes in, you don't know, what's the process?
Well, so once you get into the 5-digit range and up, you're going to have a player's card.
Okay.
Right. So you can't, it no longer becomes anonymous, right?
Yes.
Just like you can't go to Toyota dealership and buy a Camry for cash, right? You know what I mean? Without saying, hey, here's my social, here's, Bank Secrecy Act. It's called Title 31. And so it requires all of these $10,000 plus wagers to have an ID. There's a form you fill out, a W-9 it's called. And so before any transaction happens, we would have to know who you are.
Gotcha.
Right. So we, all of our players that are $10,000 and up, we know who they are. If we get someone that comes in right before kickoff and wants to place a bet like that, we're going to have to go through this process before we count the cash and print the ticket. So just to anybody out, and everyone who's made a bet like that knows that.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
The only guys that we get that want to bet like that, and when we say we're going to need your ID, they say, for what? They've never made a $10,000 bet before.
Correct.
Right? Because that's everywhere, whether it's Las Vegas, Atlantic City, wherever you go in the United States, legally, if you're going to make a bet, 10,000 or more, you have to give your ID and fill out a W-9. So
And then you get the okay. I mean, like, is there ever a spot where, a guy might be flagged because he's nothing but a steam player? I mean, how does that? Is it like a blackjack thing, or?
So it wouldn't happen on one play.
Yeah, correct.
It would happen over several plays, right? So just to give you a typical red flag for the house.
Yeah.
A guy comes in on Tuesday. He wants to bet a college football total on Saturday. And and so let's say the over-under's 50. He gets it at 50, and by Saturday it's 53.
Yeah. Yep.
Now, he does this, so we call that being ahead of the line movement.
Correct.
Right? So if a guy is right, he's ahead of the movement. He bet it was going to go over 50 and on Tuesday's early.
Yes.
Right?
Yep.
And also regionally. A guy comes in here to Vicksburg and wants to bet Ole Miss. That's understandable.
Correct.
He's betting on South Dakota, or Montana and he's betting a large number on a Tuesday. That's a red flag.
Yes.
And then he's ahead of the line movement. Yep. And now if this happens consistently, a guy makes 10 bets and he's ahead of the line movement on 6 or 7, that's going to be a red flag. Yep. And then that's
down. Correct? You'll probably back him down to what he can bet.
It's not something I would do, but the parameters are in place. It's automatic. When we go through approval, it'll say instead of this guy can't have 10,000, he can have 1,000. Or, right. Just giving you a roundabout, an example. But I've seen that where, let me get 5,000 on this, and it comes back approved for 1,200.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because they have gained a reputation for being ahead of the line movement, and they're coming in early. Yeah. That's the other red flag. When we see large action Tuesday, Wednesday for Saturday, Sunday,
consistently.
Really? Because 90% of the big action comes in on game day and even closer to kickoff, because guys are looking for that steam, right? Yeah. They're looking for that half-point movement, So
are the degenerates mostly they can't figure out who they want to take.
No, they
didn't go. I've done
They're going by time slot.
I've done
it. Got 11 o'clock games, 2:30 games, and night games.
I've sat there and got up there knowing what I was going to do the whole way, and I get there and I sit there before I walk up to that cage. I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that. I'll wait to the last minute and just pick one when I go. Especially when I get out of rhythm. I feel like I got out of rhythm here in just a little bit, but I love playoff baseball. And that is, if you get flip-flopping on playoff baseball, I mean, it's hard. It's easy. If you get in a rhythm with it, you can win. But playoff baseball, if you get to flip-flopping back and forth, I mean, you can't pick a winner. Because like I said, I love baseball. I love the Dodgers last night, Keith. I loved them. Sitting here, and I'm a Braves and Dodgers fan because my nickname when I was little was Dodger, and then I've been out there to the World Series, and like I said, I love the Braves. I'm sitting there. I love the Dodgers last night. I'm gonna bet them, and we're talking on the group and everything, and then one of my degenerate friends loved the Dodgers too, and I'm like, he can't win, so I just went with the Padres. So I go with the Padres, and of course the Dodgers kill them. Yep. I was like, I told him, I said, don't tell me what you take ever again, because it's going to influence me.
Yeah, you're not in rhythm yet.
Yeah,
you ain't in your rhythm yet.
No doubt.
I like to stay out ahead. I usually will bet early, and there has been a lot of games I've talked about on Tuesday, because that's usually when we podcast, which today it's Thursday, so it's different. But it moves so much that I don't give it out as a play, but I've already took it. But let's talk about that. Let's ask Keith the trend. I'm a trend guy. I really play every week on a trend.
Yep.
So there's a big one out there right now. Keith and I were talking about it earlier, and it's NFL. So Keith, tell us what's going on with you're seeing with NFL. That's a big trend that they need to hop on right now.
Okay, so this trend is through 4 games. It's not live this week. Okay. So here's the deal. Teams, after they play the Detroit Lions, are losing at an average of 34-13. Okay.
Wow.
So if you pull up the Lions, if you could pull up the Lions, right? So week 1 they played the Rams, right? So week 2 the Rams were at the Cardinals. Okay.
Gotcha.
So I'm talking about fading a team after they play the Lions.
Gotcha.
All right. Those are the 4 games we're going to look at.
Okay.
So the Rams, they play the Lions, and then week 2, they're at the Cardinals. They get beat 41-10 on what was a 1-point spread.
Yeah.
It's not like they were a huge dog going into that game, right?
Yep.
They're a 1-point spread, and they lose 41-10. Now, week 2, Detroit played the Bucks.
Yep.
Right. So week 3, the Bucks are at home. They're a they're a 5-point favorite against the Broncos.
Correct.
They lose. The Bucks lose that game 26-7.
Correct. Yep.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Week 3, Detroit plays the Cardinals.
Yep.
Right. So week 4, the Cardinals are at home against the Washington Commanders. Cardinals lose that game 42-14.
Correct.
And the Cardinals were the favorite. Okay. So you see the trend here, right? So week 4, Seattle, Detroit plays Seattle.
Correct.
So the week after, Seattle is at home, a 7-point favorite, and they lose outright to the Giants, 29-20.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay. So just looking at 4 games. So there's a Detroit hangover.
Yep.
Right? Teams, after they play Detroit, are scoring 10, 7, 14, and 20. Right? So, and they're giving up 41, 26, 42, 29. Those 4 games it's 138-51. That's an average of 34-13. And I want to say this, 3 of those 4 games that I'm telling you, the team was at home and they were a favorite.
And lost outright.
And they lose outright.
That's
correct.
Crazy.
Yeah. And Detroit they had a bye last week.
They had a bye. So the trend is not live for this week, but I believe they are playing the Cowboys.
Correct.
So I'm looking to fade the Cowboys next week.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
And
if hold on. I wanted to add one thing. If anything, if you didn't feel comfortable about fading the Cowboys, think about team total under.
Yeah. Yep.
I haven't looked ahead to who the Cowboys play next week, but teams are not scoring a lot after they play Detroit. So another play is fading the team after they play Detroit would be a play. And also betting the under on a team total after they play Detroit.
Correct.
You know?
And it looks like we're going to have a 2 week off because Cowboys got a bye week after Detroit. So
okay.
You know,
so we may be looking at it down the road, but you know, that is a tidbit that, it's something to look at. And listen, one thing I want to say about these things is don't think that the bookmakers don't know that too, right? The odds makers.
Yes.
You know,
100%.
We're not finding anything. I'm not coming across something that, you know, a whole bunch of guys haven't come, but probably not something that the public digs deep into, right?
Correct.
You know, you dedicate you work in sports, literally. I mean, because you know, you're doing a podcast about sports. So your life, that's your work. Now you think about the average guy, he's putting in 40 hours on a job. You know, maybe, you know, he's got a family, you know, he's catching ESPN.
Yeah.
You know, he's catching, you know, First Take, or he's catching Get Up or something like that. You know, he's not really spending 40, 60 hours of his week, to digging in deep to these things. So,
correct.
Whenever you can come across little tidbits like that and put them out there, it's food for thought.
Yeah, I mean, we say it all the time. It's something that you need to pay attention to, because instead of just going and throwing a dart,
right?
Yeah.
We're not telling you it's going to win. We're
right.
There's no such thing. There's no such thing. But have a rhyme, a reason of why you do something. Do it in moderation. I mean, we preach to that. Like, we know that this is a lot of people, it can take you over and all that kind of stuff. We're trying to teach you the correct way, how to have fun, how to study, possibly make some money, and have fun doing it. But, listening to people like us and people like Keith is way better than turning on ESPN, because those guys ain't ever made a bet in their life.
Correct.
Yeah, I mean,
they can't even pick over 50% on who's going to win the damn game, much less the spread.
They basically have to talk about it now because sports betting is so big now. And then, ESPN has ESPN Bet, and so they have to have segments on it. So it's like, okay, well,
I fade them. I fade game day.
Oh yeah. Coaches to me are the worst ever at sports betting. I mean, I promise you, if you gave Nick Saban and said, "Here, Nick, pick out 4 games for me this week," he'd probably go in 4. I'm just telling you, they don't understand sports betting.
No.
And like I've said it before, we know sports betting. So listen to somebody that actually does it instead of somebody that just talks about it.
Yeah, but my advice is the best system is your own system. Build it yourself based off. I mean, go off the stuff we talk about. There's your categories, your trends, your reverse line movement. We just went through that. Look for that.
Correct.
Look for situations.
Don't just bet on it because it's on and you got to do something.
That's right.
Don't just do it.
I've got one I want to throw out there, guys.
All right.
Guys, do you bet totals? Do you bet over under?
Oh, yeah.
Right? Well, you do, obviously, right?
Yep.
How often do you take into consideration the weather?
Yeah,
right?
I'm always going to look at the weather.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right. That should be number one.
Late in the year. I mean, that's football. That's the hard thing about football. It's like fast track, sunny, perfect. A lot of people are on turf now. It's nice at the beginning of the season. All of a sudden, you get in that back half of the NFL. It's real. It matters big time.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's cold, rainy. That you can't pass it all over the place.
Right.
Matters
the
big
wind.
Time.
Wind is huge.
20-mile-an-hour winds trend to the under at a 60% clip.
Yeah.
No matter who's playing. I mean, it's going to be harder to kick field goals. It's going to be harder to have those timing routes.
Correct.
And so you're going to rely on the run, and running keeps the clock going. So you're looking at an under. And of course, the odds makers know this too.
That's right.
So suck you in with a lower number. Yeah. And it's like rain. People think rain stops offense. It's actually harder to tackle in the rain because the offensive player knows where he's cutting. The defensive guy's stuck, and then he can't move.
I have seen that many a times. Now, hard rain, different stuff, but people will say, man, it's going to be raining.
But they'll drop the number so much that you lose all the value anyway.
You lose all the value. Yep.
Right.
If you look, I mean, that's another thing, looking ahead, seeing how the weather's going to be for that day. Just little things like that can help. And
I want to
go ahead.
I want to say, I'm sorry I want to say that's big in baseball as well.
Oh, huge.
Oh, yeah.
Huge.
Right?
And humidity.
Humidity, right? Well, why is it that Colorado always has an over-under of 11, 12, right?
Yeah.
No matter who's pitching.
Yep.
You could have Kershaw pitching, and it's still 11 and a half.
Correct.
So because of the altitude, right? And also the dimensions of the ballpark. I noticed something talking to a lot of casual bettors. They don't realize every ballpark is different.
Correct.
There are a couple that are the same sort of dimensions, but so many are different. And then, one's on the lake, one's on the bay where the wind is more prevalent. I remember having 2 pitchers with an ERA of 5, and yet the total was 6.5.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait a minute. These guys give it up at a high clip, but the totals. So then I look at the wind, it's blowing in at 25 miles an hour. Well, nothing's popping out of the yard, no matter how bad of a pitcher you are.
That's right.
You know?
That's right. And nowadays it's all about the long ball. So, you know, you take away the long ball and, it runs because
guys are hitting it out or they're striking out.
That's it. We had we do golf stuff too, Keith, and we played a little match with Corey Dickerson. He played in the majors for 10 years. He's from Mississippi. And so we got to pick his brain a lot. And he's like, man, I could have batted 500 with all singles and I would have got fired. You know, he's like, they want, it's all about the long ball. So, it just makes sense, checking that weather. And like I said, humidity and the air quality, because that ball, I mean, they have stuff now. I was watching on the playoffs yesterday, Keith, and the type of technology. So they were, miles per hour coming off the bat, what the air. So they were saying if the humidity was this or air quality, whatever, and the ball comes off at 102.9, it has this percentage to go out. And if the air quality was this, it has this. Well, you get your gurus, which, like you said, the odds makers are on top of this too. Yeah. It could just be a little bit different in the weather. Like right now in Mississippi, I mean, walk outside, there's no humidity. It feels great. Yep. Feels great. That, we went and play golf right now. I bet. I mean, we'd be going. It's not, air's not thick. So, we're just getting into, things that you need to pay attention to, whatever it is. If you got 20 minutes a week, because like he said, we know most people are they're working, whatever, just take a little bit of time to find these things out and it'll help. Yeah. It'll always help.
One thing I found too is if that helps me, little tidbits like that, like wind speed. What's the wind? Where is the wind blowing in? Is it blowing out? What's the wind speed? It may not help me to make my choice. It may help me to stay away. Right? Correct. Like it may stop me from getting sucked in. Because if I just look at the box scores, and I didn't check any further, I go, oh, look at these 2 pitchers. They're sorry. I'm betting the over. Oh, they're giving me a low over too. It's at 7. Oh, well, wait a minute. There's a reason why. So maybe I don't go with my first gut on that. You know what I mean? Maybe it doesn't influence me to make the bet, but maybe it stops me from jumping on a bad bet. Yeah. Or a riskier bet.
Go ahead, Keith.
No, I'm just saying a bet that might be riskier than what I imagine because I haven't considered all the parameters.
Yeah. I literally have a buddy of mine. He's older than me, and I've been listening to him for forever. We're really tight friends. Every week, his job for me is to give me all the numbers that don't make sense.
Yes.
And that's how he plays. So I just look at those games. I don't always take them.
Correct.
But I usually will find one I like a lot out of his group.
Yes. That brings up a good question, Keith. And I'm gonna see if I can find one. But you get a game, all right, and you're saying, why is this line so low? Why is this line so low? How many times do you hear people probably, and they're like, they'll stay off of it just because they think, well, something's weird, something's off, instead of diving a little deep into it. But I mean, we've both done it.
Is there such thing as scaring the pro away?
Yeah, that's right.
I talk about it sometimes. I'm like, I think that's just there to scare the big money out. Yeah, make them wonder why.
I mean, last week I stayed off Ole Miss against South Carolina because I was like, that line doesn't make sense to me. Right. 10 points, and it went up right before game time. So I was like, man, give me South Carolina plus 10 points at home. Ole Miss coming off getting beat by Kentucky. South Carolina has played, almost
way
beat LSU.
Better than everybody thought. Yeah.
It's a hard place to play. So
coming off a bye,
you know, I was like, there again, I got scared thinking that line should have been, I thought it was going to open up at like 6.5 and then move, you know, like you said, might have moved across a football number, but it comes out at 9 and it scared me away. And we talk about it. I feel like, you know, but obviously they knew, the odds makers know more than what we know, you know, and they knew that Ole Miss was better, a lot better.
When you asked the question, I was thinking of that exact game. And I'll give you the scenario. As I was talking to a friend of mine who's, you know, a handicapper.
Yep.
Right? Like he's not a gambler, he's a handicapper.
That's
and
right.
so I said, you know, it was such a big public dog, right? I'm like, man, you know, I said, South Carolina, man, that looks like a good dog, you know? And he goes, really, why? And I mentioned those things. Well, they played LSU tough, right? Ole Miss just got beat. Maybe they're not as good as what we think. And, you know, South Carolina was on the bye. And he had one question for me. He goes, why is the line 9.5 then?
Yeah.
Yep.
Right?
Correct.
You know? So,
correct.
You know, I get what you're saying about those. It's scary, but I don't think it's there to scare the pros.
Yeah.
I think it's there to scare the public.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right?
That's a good point.
You know, the pros aren't scared, right?
No.
Like they're doing their homework. The guys that get sucked in are the guys that can't spend a lot of time doing research. So they get drawn in. And I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. -2.5 in the NFL. Guys love jumping on that favorite that's -2.5.
Joey, that's Joey's
how many
biggest
times
NFL theory.
Sorry?
I said that's my boy's biggest NFL theory, going against -2.5.
Right. I mean, well, here's what happens. The public goes, all I got to do is win by a field goal.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, and they get sucked in on that, you know, and I find +2.5 wins outright. You know, and that's another thing I wanted maybe to touch on. How often do you money line and how often do you take the spread? Because if you look, if you're +2.5, more often than not, they win the game.
Correct.
Like, what are you giving me 2.5 for?
Yeah.
2.5 doesn't help me if it's tied and a field goal goes up.
Correct.
Right. And the favorite covers and wins by 3. So 2.5 didn't really do anything for me. I find value in taking +1, +1.5, +2. I find value in taking them on the money line.
Yeah. Yep. And, you know, people don't realize how helpful that is, man. Plus 130 instead of like -110 in juice.
Right.
And there's probably a number out there of how often a 2.5 dog wins or a 1.5 dog wins.
Yeah.
You know,
I will dig into that, but I can tell you this just by going back to last week. I think of either the dog won outright. I can't think of the only game I can think of off the top of my head, Bengals, Baltimore, Bengals, Ravens. I think that landed on the number. I want to say
3.
Baltimore might have been -3.
Correct.
No, they were 2.5.
Yeah, 2.5.
It went down.
That was the only NFL game I bet last week. I took Cincinnati second half plus a half, which they were up by 3 at halftime.
They should have won that game.
It was just that was one of my spots I was telling you about. You know, I got Cincinnati second half plus a half, and they were dominating. You know. And I should have won the snap.
We got screwed. I had it in a 5-game round robin, so I bought them up to 3.
Yeah,
and ended up pushing it, but it was a winner, stone cold winner the whole game.
What's your take, Keith? On you're hearing this more and more and more on just everybody wants to talk about NFL being rigged, okay? Because we heard this, and I need to fact check it that. They're an entertainment company. NFL is an entertainment company.
Like WWE.
Like WWE, you know. So, I've kind of stay away from NFL besides my halftimes. But, I mean, can't be rigged. I mean, can it be like we know that the refs can go, they're going to have meetings and they're going to say, you know, how to call the game, you know, and that's huge. I mean, they can literally call holding or pass interference every time if they want, you know? So, I mean, what's your take on just all that rig stuff and, you know, in the NFL?
Well, I get where guys are coming from, right? The league, is there a benefit to the league, to Kansas City doing well, right?
Yeah.
Is there, you know what I mean? Is there some, you know, but to fix every game is just an impossibility.
Yeah.
You know, what it would take to fix every game is insane, right? And my thing about conspiracy theories is guys don't keep their mouth shut. Somebody's gonna tell somebody, right?
No doubt.
They're gonna tell a brother, a cousin, a girlfriend, that somebody it's gonna get out.
Yeah.
You know, eventually. Now, can it happen on a very minute level, like a Donaghy from the NBA back in the 90s?
That's what
you know. Or more recently, the guy from the Porter from Toronto. You know, you guys know that story about
messing with his player totals points and going out
and
of the
then
game
took
and
himself out of the game.
Yeah.
You know, really small levels. You know, there was I want to say it was Philly was playing Miami last year, and there wasn't one penalty called on Philly. And then come to find out that crew had been reprimanded in the past. And the head referee was from the Philadelphia area. You know, could it happen on a small scale like that?
Correct.
Of course.
Yeah.
Right? We're dealing with human beings.
Yeah.
But to say that it's like WWE, that's just an impossibility, right?
Correct.
You know? And I hear all the time, you know, something I hear common from bettors is, oh, that's Vegas. Vegas, you know, a couple of weeks ago, Dallas kicker misses a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
Maybe it was 52, right? 50-yarders are hard.
Hard. No doubt. They're making them look a lot easier nowadays.
Right. I mean, now, granted, he hits at a high percentage, but because that 50-yarder caused a push or didn't cover. Now the conspiracy theories come out the woodwork. And, you know, it's always easy in hindsight to make the theory fit the situation.
Correct.
Right? You know, I just find it to be a little too far-fetched for me.
Yeah.
You know, guys get hurt. You know, guys, seasons are ended every week in the NFL.
Yeah.
There's somebody who is never gonna. There's careers ended every week in the NFL. You know, I don't believe that it's on that level. You know,
correct.
But I just wanted to pull back last week real quick. I pulled it up. All right, Vikings favorite. They win and they cover. Right, Bears win and cover. Texans win and cover. Commanders win and cover. These are favorites, right?
Okay.
Cardinals were a dog. They won outright.
Yep.
Right? Packers, favorite, win and cover. Dolphins were a dog. They won outright. Jacksonville, that might have been -3, and that landed on the number, 37-34, right? The Ravens went to 2.5, so that was a cover. Broncos, favorite, win and cover. Giants were a dog, won outright. Yep. So Cowboys were the favorite. No, wait, were they the dog in that one?
Cowboys
were the dog.
They were the dog.
They were the dog. They won outright.
Yep.
So what I'm getting at is, if you were to take the points with with the Cowboys, with the Dolphins, with the Cardinals, with the Giants, they all won outright. I know it's a small sample. I'm just going off of last week. Yeah. But if we were to go back and look at every week, it's very often that the dog, if you like a dog, it's first of all, if you like a dog, you shouldn't be liking them because they're getting points. You should like them because you think they're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Yes.
No doubt.
Right.
No doubt.
Right? If there's a
Or
reason to
2.5
back,
have a good chance to win the game.
Yeah, because 2.5
Right.
is a good number, but plus 6 is also a good money line number because it kills the teaser.
Yeah.
yeah,
So
right, okay.
it's another big underdog winning it outright,
Yeah.
just like 9, because it's just a
Right.
touchdown and a field goal. Those are your three. Don't even take the points. If you like them, you need to think they're going to win.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah. Or
right.
you want to risk less to
Because
win
you
more.
like South Carolina because you literally thought they had a chance to beat Ole Miss,
Correct.
Right.
which
Right.
was logical to think
Yeah.
because we
Right.
hadn't shown anything. You saw what they did against LSU,
Yeah.
so
Right.
he has a good point there.
Oh, no doubt.
I often recommend to guys that you'll hear this. Let me sprinkle something on the money line, right? So like you could risk less and take the dog to win outright. So your risk is less,
Correct.
financially, money wise, or you can bet them plus the points with a smaller percentage that they win outright, especially on those big numbers like 6 and 9 and what have
One
you.
of my favorite bets to do is to take an early, do parlays, 2 to 3 gamers where I do time slot. So the first game, I love to take a money line dog. So it makes a 6 to 1 go up to 10 to 1.
Yes.
So then the next 2 or 1, you can take a huge favorite just to win.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, they're going to win the game. They're going to win the game.
Yeah.
Then all of a sudden you're back catching 3, 2, 4 to 1 on a minus 260.
Yeah.
That's how I bet a lot.
You brought up something I want to mention is in guys that bet big parlays, 4, 5. There's guys that bet 15, 20.
You see it all.
Right.
You see it all.
But let's say you've got a big parlay. If you have the last leg of the parlay is a standalone Sunday night, or on Saturday, it's a Pac-12 game,
Yep.
if it's standalone, you take the favorite, and if all the early stuff has come in, you can now middle and win them both.
No doubt.
Yep.
No
Right?
doubt.
Good. Just something to throw out to guys.
I had it tied to Arizona last week. They ended up losing, but I still guaranteed myself the comeback on it.
I'm a big hedge and middle guy. Huge.
Right.
Football's the best sport to do it on.
Yeah.
Because it's lower possession. It's easier to land in between pick and 7.
Do y'all have line betting there?
And you want to make the last leg a big favorite.
Correct.
If you like it, then you don't put it on your ticket just because. But let's say you like it, so now you've got that favorite on the money line. Now when you go to hedge, you're getting plus 7.5, and it's you got a big cushion there to not only hedge your original parlay, but maybe you guarantee yourself money, but then hit them both.
Correct.
If it lands in the middle, because your money line and your plus.
Yeah.
Yep. We got a saying for that, but I am not gonna say it on. I'll tell you later what it is. But it's right in there, baby. When it hits, it's right
in a sweet spot.
Yeah, in the sweet spot.
Right, the sweet
in
spot,
the sweet
baby.
spot. So I love when we hit in the sweet spot. I think one of our boys. I don't know what happened in that game last night, but there was like 1 second left at New Mexico State, and were they playing Jackson State?
I didn't
Jacksonville.
Jacksonville State. And the score was like 55-13. And I need to go ask him. This is a little story, but there was 1 second. It looks like the time goes off. He throws it in the end zone. They intercept it and run it all the way back. And I thought for him to hit a middle for something. I mean, that saying came out. There was, hold on, I was listening to, it was something about NFL. What was it? Because we covered the rig part. We covered, I had it on the tip of my, I got dementia, Keith. I'm
Hey, who do you guys like tonight?
Let's see here.
San Fran at Seattle.
Tonight we have, I'm still on week 5. I went back and looked. We got San Fran at Seattle. We got, what are you showing? I'm showing 3.5.
Right. We've got it at 3.5 and 48.5. Well, let me hold on. I'm at 49 now.
Okay.
I'm at 4-49.
You're at 4-49 now. 4-49.
Yeah.
But the public's coming in hard now.
Yep.
So lots of defensive injuries for both teams. Both teams coming off a loss. It's a division game.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah.
And most of the time, I'm going to back a division dog.
Yes.
Most of the time.
No doubt.
Most of the time. But tonight, I am leaning towards the Niners. Now, and also with these defensive injuries, I would take the over, right? Yeah. But division primetime games hit at such an under.
Yeah. And 48 and a half, just a good under number. Even though it just moved to 49, that's just money.
Yeah.
Right. I am liking. So now when I do a 2-pick, I like to do it, and then I can tweak the numbers a little bit. Right.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at under 51 and a half. Right. And I'm picking 51 and a half is a 27-24 ball game.
All right. Yep.
So 51's a number that I like. So I'm going to go 51 and a half. And then I want to chop a point off of that. I like the Niners. So if I go Niners minus 2.5, under 51 and a half, I'm getting plus 150 on that.
Plus 150. I was about to ask.
Yeah.
Right, so got it. I like
so that for me, that's my play. But honestly, I think the best play, it would just be to probably stay away from the total. And I would take the Niners at the -4.
Because I've been watching Seattle play against Detroit. Detroit just sliced and diced them up and down the field. San Francisco coming off a loss.
Yep.
I just don't think Seattle's very good because that was a double-star sports analytics on Sunday night or Monday night a couple of weeks ago, catching 4 or whatever.
Yeah,
and I loved it. And their defense is no good.
Right.
Detroit.
And now you add injuries.
Yeah. And I mean, outside of DK Metcalf, they don't really have any weapons. And they're playing with the bottom 20% quarterback. I mean, Geno's playing well. I mean, he's done okay, but I mean, he's one of the worst quarterbacks.
Still out.
I think McCaffrey's back.
It says injured. It said his Achilles is still.
He was supposed to maybe come back last week, but they said he could come back this week, and then they got a bye next week, so they may wait and bring him in off the bye. But now that they lost last week, I wouldn't be surprised if he played tonight, because then they got a whole nother off week coming up.
Yeah.
To get him back.
Yeah.
And I think they may break McCaffrey out tonight because they got to win.
It's one of those situations we were talking about earlier. Like the public is immediately going to go because they know that home dog thing. Like, I mean, a single game like a Thursday night or Sunday night or Monday night, a dog like that, they're
getting
go,
4.
Yeah, so they know that.
That's going to suck a lot of people in.
Yep.
Yeah,
correct.
They got to bet on somebody on these single night games. They're not sitting out. It's not like this game's sitting in a 12-game slate. Yeah, they're probably not going to take Seattle if this game's sitting in the middle of Sunday, but this is the only game tonight, so they're going to bet.
Correct.
And so you're going to get way more people betting Seattle than they would if this was sitting in the middle of a Sunday slate.
Correct. Hey, let's I want to talk a little bit about this baseball playoffs. Let's talk about today. We got Cleveland Guardians playing Detroit. Tigers are up 2-1 in the series. It's a best out of 5, so you got to win 3 games. And we got Yankees and Royals, and the Yankees are up 2-1 tonight. Let's see, Padres and Dodgers will be tomorrow. So Mets already clinched the playoffs. So we're getting down. We're getting close. It's October baseball, and Detroit Tigers have been they've been pretty good this year. They got some pitching. I don't think they've allowed a run the last 2 games. And they don't have their pitcher out yet.
Our buddy's a big Cleveland guy, and he said that he does not like Cleveland in this series.
Yeah.
From the get.
Correct.
And now here they are down 2-1.
Yep. Anything you seeing anything today? What do you have? What's your line on Cleveland Guardians and Detroit?
Yeah, so Cleveland's minus 125. Well, hold on. Let me pull up my end zone. So I like Detroit, guys.
Yeah.
I do too.
And I like the Yankees. So I'm a Yankees fan all my life. You know, when Reggie Jackson hit 3 home runs in the World Series, I was 11 years old. You know, so this is, you know, since I'm a little kid, I've been a Yankee fan. And I said at the beginning of the playoffs, it could be Dodgers Yankees just because of the big bats, you know. So that's who I like. I thought, but you know, seeing the Mets these past couple of games, you know, I would have to say, you know, if the Mets and Dodgers meet up, you got to watch out for a hot team.
That's correct.
You know what I mean?
And baseball matters. And then also too, just from a situational common sense standpoint, you know, not a lot of series go to the last game. The reason they don't, like NBA 5-6, this series probably going to end more in this game. The team up 2-1's got no pressure.
Yeah.
Like they're just loose, man. Like the other team, they're going to try as hard as they can, but sometimes you don't play well when you're there.
Right.
You know? I mean, it's just you got professionals loose.
Right.
I love it.
And
it's just situational to me.
It's such different.
Doesn't even matter who it is.
Because like last night, I mean, you will pitch anybody. You have to pitch, and this is where I didn't do my homework last night, Keith. If I'd have done my homework on the Dodgers, it was a bullpen game.
Yeah.
So
I love that. Dude, I love taking the bullpen team.
The Dodgers, I don't feel like have great starters this year because everybody's hurt, but their bullpen is basically unhittable.
Yeah.
I watched them, and you know they pitch 1.5 innings, and here comes the next guy, and I mean their bullpen is basically unhittable. But you got to have good starters in playoff baseball, but you got to have somebody come in there and back them up.
Versus the Dodgers are seeing the same pitcher second, third cycle through.
Correct.
It's an advantage more than people think, and they think it's a disadvantage because all they bet on is pitching.
That's it.
You cannot do that in baseball.
You can't.
More in the playoffs, you maybe can ride a hot guy like a Verlander. I wouldn't go against him. No. Damn sure if you just stay off if you don't like it.
Correct.
But yeah, man, you gotta look for everything but pitching. Like we talked about prop man. The reason you win 5 in a row ain't because pitching's because everybody else is ginning. You're hitting. You're fielding well. You're not making errors. You're running the bases right. You're just the coaching's clicking.
Yeah, it's just another thing we talked about. Just a lot of people, what they're going to do is they're going to pick their phone up. They're going to be there, Ameristar. They're going to go look at ERA on a pitcher. That's it. They're going to look at one thing. You know, oh, this pitcher's got a 2.86 ERA. I'm going to bet them. You know.
Well, and here's the thing: if you're going to bet the game based on the pitcher, you're not betting the whole game.
Yep.
Bet the first 5.
First 5. Correct.
Maybe first 3 even.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
You know, because if you bet the whole game, who goes 9 innings?
Yeah. Nobody anymore.
It's unheard of.
You got to have a no-hitter going to be out there after 8.
Yeah, and they'll pull you nowadays if you got a no-hitter. I saw that a few times this year.
It's crazy.
And more teams than not, their best pitcher is the couple bullpen guys.
Correct.
They put them there for a reason. That's set up into the end.
Yep. That starter's in there to come in, throw 90 to 100 pitches, however that is, 5 innings, 4 innings, 6 innings, and then here comes the bullpen.
Yeah.
So you're right. If you're betting a pitcher, bet first 5.
Right. And also a trend that is growing is to start a game off with a reliever.
Yeah.
Right? A reliever comes in.
Yep.
Right. Start the game off with the reliever. So now you're looking at things like no run first inning.
Yep.
You know, which the juice on that can be really high.
Really high.
You know, and so there's not a tremendous amount of value a lot of times. Like even if you look at this Detroit game,
probably minus 145 something.
I think it's even higher. Hold on.
Yep.
It's 159.
159. Yep.
Right.
Yeah, there's no value there.
No.
Right. You know, because you're facing the top of the lineup for both teams.
Correct.
Right.
Correct.
You know, man, you know, you're looking at six guys that can, you know, well, and a lot of times, at least one guy that can knock one out.
Yes.
Well,
You know,
that's where,
on
to
both.
me, you use the 3-game parlay and tie it to later stuff.
If you like,
Just
a
take the
no-run
minus
first inning,
160.
Yep.
Do your 3-gamers coming from 6-1 back to around 5, maybe 4, a little under 5-1.
Correct.
And keep it rolling into your next 2 that you may like at a later time.
Correct.
Then you don't have to bet as much.
Yes.
I'm all about risking less to win more.
Yeah. And
Right.
and parlays, like,
They're hard to hit,
they're
but if
hard
you
to
use
hit.
them correctly, you can destroy
correct.
people.
If you know how to do it and you know how to hedge, like we talked about, you can, and you're gonna get to risk less.
Yeah.
You know, but going up there, I mean, what can you say? What's the biggest parlay somebody's hit this year? Are you allowed to say that? Or
Yeah. So, it now when you say biggest, you mean
The
meaning
biggest
like
payout.
a 5? Say again.
The biggest payout.
Well, biggest payout or
How many games?
How many
Give
games?
us 2. But if they're if it's the
Okay,
same
because
thing or-
there's a couple of ways to look at it, right? So we had a guy, excuse me, he bet 200 and it paid 40,000.
How many games was it?
Right. I want to say it was 8.
8
I
games.
want to say it was 8.
Yeah.
But right. So he had a $200 bet that paid 40,000. Right.
Gotcha.
wow.
But we had a $10 bet, right, that
Yep.
paid 12,000.
Nice. Nice.
Right.
Good day at the office.
I bet you that guy
Now-
over his lifetime has bet way more than 12,000 at $10.
Right.
Oh, he's
Right.
giving it back.
Right. So while 40,000 was more,
Yeah.
he bet $200.
Yeah.
And
correct.
the guy that bet $10 that won 12 grand.
Yeah.
And it was crazy. The 12 grand was this guy that hit a home. I forget who he had, but he had
Prop
Judge, he
parlay.
had Soto, he had maybe was it Goldschmidt? I forget, but he had a bunch of guys to hit a home run,
Yep.
and he had some and the teams to win the game, and you
Yeah.
know, it was a big ticket.
Yeah.
We had one last when basketball season first started. A guy had 14 teams. He hit all 14.
Wow.
Right. And so this is something, if you guys would ever have me back, I'll try and remember to bring up.
Oh, we definitely have you. back.
The opening of college basketball is really big on the favorites. If we go back and look, you'll see that first game, they're minus 30 and they win by 50. They're minus 40 and they win by 60.
Yep.
You know,
Yep.
this guy wasn't scared of it. He had 14 favorites and they all covered the spread. And I forget what it was, but it was like it was something like 5,000 to 1. It was like it paid something like $28,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, for like a $7 bet or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You see them all the time on social media.
And-
Not all the time, but you see bets like that.
The player prop parlays gotten big. It's
Yeah.
kind of how because everybody started playing fantasy, and you know, it's just a different way to get action. It's fun.
Correct. Just betting on
You know
players.
what's really big for parlays? Win margin. You
Win
guys
margin.
familiar with win margin?
Yes,
So
yes.
instead of saying San Fran minus 4, or as well as, so maybe I've got 110 to win 100, right?
Yeah,
Well,
gotcha.
San Fran minus 4. I could bet $25 that San Fran wins between 1 and 6.
Yep.
What's
Gotcha.
that
From
pay?
1
I've
to
done that.
6. That's the win margin. So if they win by 7, I lose,
Yes.
right?
Correct.
Or more. So I have to win exactly. So in this particular game, 1 to 6 is San Fran is plus 310.
Wow.
7 to
Yeah.
12, which is what I like,
Yeah.
is plus 440. So
Love
if
it.
you were to say, hey, let me get a minus 4 at minus 110 for 100, give me 110 to win 100. Now, you know what? Give me $20 at plus 440. You win another $100.
Yeah. Correct.
Yeah.
Right there.
If it lands between 7 and 12.
I bet I got a fun little story. last year when Colorado State was playing Colorado.
week 2.
Yeah. I bet 2 dimes that came back 55,000 on Colorado State to win 6-13. All right. Wow. And I don't know if y'all remember that game, but they're up by 7.
Overtime.
Oh, up by 7. Colorado's got to drive 90 yards with 1 minute and 30 seconds left. If they don't score, my 2 dimes comes in back 55,000. And they drove all the way down, went to overtime, ended up winning the game.
Yep.
You know, but that was the last time I did one of those.
Because you could have still won in overtime too.
Oh yeah. Still could have won in overtime.
You got screwed, boss.
That was bad because there's so many. That's another thing. There's so many different options out there. So look at all your options. Just like he's saying. I mean, look at your. Hey, I don't want to risk as much tonight, but I like San Francisco. I think they're going to beat them. Okay, $20 that they win from 7-13. You know, and you know you have fun with it, and you got a chance to win 100, and then you're rooting for them to win, fall right there because that looks like a good slot. You know, a good little slot for that game.
And you know, and if guys like betting parlays, when you put a few of those together, now it grows exponentially. Correct. Right? Like, you know, a 3-team parlay is 6-1, but a 3-teamer at plus 300, plus 400, that's like 100-1.
Oh, I know.
You know, I mean, I could, you know, give you an example and put one together real quick for you just to say, just to show you. And look, you don't have to bet that much. If it's 100-1, you know, you're only going to put $10 on it. Correct. Right? And you still had the same 3-teamer at 6-1 for like $50.
Yep.
But just as an example, if you were to say win margin for the Niners, win margin for the Jags, and I'm just picking them because they're the next game. Gotcha. That's that game's over in Europe, by the way. And I pick a third game. I'm going with the Packers, 1-6. Okay. So now this is a 3, and it's 100-1. I got to play this now, guys.
Yeah. You get the juju. You just assemble the juju.
Right. No the Niners 7-12, the Jags 1-6, the Packers 1-6. $10 pays $1,000.
Yeah.
You know,
I have all kind of fun with that.
Yeah.
Right. Like, you know, I always tell guys, there's nothing wrong with having a lotto ticket, but don't have nothing but lotto tickets.
Correct.
That's right.
Okay.
100%.
Right.
And that's just, you know, try to have a system, what you bet, a unit, whatever. And that's just a very small percentage, you know, of your unit.
I say it like this. Hey, I got a 2-teamer. That's my meat and potatoes.
Yeah.
You know, this 6-teamer, that's the dessert.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Correct.
If I got $100, I'm putting $90 on the 2-teamer.
Correct.
And I'm putting $10 on the 6-teamer.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
That's right.
You know,
right. Don't just walk in there. It's amazing. And I know you see it, especially probably on Sunday and Saturday morning, you know, coming in there and they want to play, you know, $20, $50, I guess what they want to spend today. And they'll break it down and probably do $5 and probably do 10 just lotto ticket parlays. And when they could have took 40 and done them a 2-teamer or pick one and you know, the thing is, they're like, well, I'm only winning 40, but hey, 40, keep going, do that. It builds up.
It. Right. Yeah. And hey, one other thing, I got to warn against this, guys.
Yeah.
So I see this every week. A guy bets 10, 15 games, all big favorites.
Yep.
Right? I saw it last week. He had a 10-team parlay. He had all these favorites. It was a 10-teamer should pay 500-1.
Yes.
This guy had a 10-teamer and it paid 4-1.
Yeah. All chalk.
Jesus.
Just big chalk.
Well,
minus 400, minus 500, stuff like that.
Minus 1,000, minus 3,000.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So what did Alabama do to that ticket?
Oh, gone. Yep. No doubt.
And that's why I say, don't pick 15. You're trying to get 4-1. You could get 4-1 by picking 3 teams.
Yes.
With the favorite money line in there.
Yeah.
Right. You know, you need 15 things to go right. you know, and only one thing to go wrong and you lose.
Yep.
And you're not getting any value. You know, I see it every week, and I won't tell guys how to bet their money.
Correct.
You know,
Correct.
but
All we do is give advice.
I try and say, man, you know, when the ticket is this long, right? You know, one hamstring pull, you know, to a major player, you know, and in college, you know, you see that every week. You see a dog, a big favorite of 20 points lose outright.
Seen it more and more,
you know,
now too, especially with this portal. Some of these other teams getting better players. You know, these second stringers that usually these bigger teams get. They're like, nah, I'll go to UNLV and get paid. You know, whatever. Even though they didn't pay that quarterback. Now that I said that, did you see that where the UNLV quarterback?
Yeah,
he didn't get his money and he just said, "No, I'm done." Yeah.
And Syracuse went out and upset him last week.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. So I just wanted to say, you know, I see it all the time. Guys want to bet 10, 12, 15 teams, all chalk, all big, and that has no value. You have a much better chance at getting 3 right against the spread.
Our best
for
friend,
the same money.
Our best friend. I'm not gonna say his name, but you know who he is. We call him Mr. Chalk. He comes over there. He loves to do that.
He loves the chalk.
He picking 5 just big chalk. You know.
Yeah. Go 6-1, but have a 7-gamer.
Yeah, 6-1. Man, I almost had it. It was one game. You know. We call him Mr. Chalk.
Or later points. Either take the points or lay the points.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want to, you know, there's a couple of ways you can do things, you know, as far as mixing it up. Say, hey, I'm going to take these favorites just to win. It's not going to pay very much. You know, I get it. But then I would also say, I bet that same ticket that they all covered the spread.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But there's no value when you get into the 15, you know, if you're going to do that, you're better off saying they cover the spread for $5 and hope you win 20 grand.
Yes,
you got to bet it. You know what I mean? Then minus 3,000, minus 2,500, minus 1,000. There's no value in that.
Nope. None at all.
I mean, a 4-gamer pays 10-1. If you're trying to get past that,
yeah,
you know, just bet a 2 or 3 gamer with the dog to win outright.
Correct.
Right.
Or a plus prop, like you said.
Yeah. Well,
10 times your money is great.
Yes.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Nice. Very nice. All right, Keith, man, I want you before we go. You gave us, you know, a couple different ones, but what's your favorite one that you want to give to the audience, or you want to give to? You talked about Kentucky, you talked about BYU, Oregon, you talked about tonight. Because we're, like I said, we're going to
talk about LSU.
We're going to have you back on as much as you want to come. Just to, it might not be as this long, but we wanted to introduce you, you know, whatever. But we can phone you in and say, all right, here comes Keith. You know, you might get hot, and then people are going to be tuning in. Well, I want to hear Keith play.
No doubt.
And like I said, look, to our audience, just like you say with me and Will, you know, he's not. There is no such thing as locks. He's just giving you his take. His best advice he can. You take it and do with what you want. Mm-hmm. We're trying to tell you things how to maximize on your value and stuff. But if you got more, that's fine. But the last little thing before you go, tell me this is gonna be Keith's predictions.
Okay. So I mentioned Oregon. I mentioned LSU. Those are dogs. There's another dog out there that I think can win the game. And that's Colorado. And I'm not a big Colorado guy. You know, I thought Central Florida was gonna win that game easily.
Yeah,
and I was way wrong. Correct. So, you know, they're making a believer out of me. They're at home and they're getting a field goal. So that's one. I'm not as big on that one as I am Oregon. I'm big on Oregon. Okay. I like LSU. I'm big on Kentucky, and I'm not known for laying double digits. 13.5. I like that number because I think 14 they can win by. I'm going to throw Rutgers in there because I'm a Rutgers guy. They're at home against Wisconsin. It's -2.5. I think they can win by a field goal. Military academies. Known for when they play each other. It's not this week. They're known for going under, but I want to say that trend is changing.
Yes.
Navy is not running the triple option wishbone, right? Like they're not running that. They are putting up points. Yeah. You know, they covered the over last week in the Navy Air Force game. They covered the over by themselves.
Sharp side had Navy.
Yep.
Right.
Navy was a big play last week.
Beware, right? Navy was a great play. The over was a great play. Beware of that when the military academies get together. The trend used to be under, and sometimes we get locked into trends. And it hits at a 68% clip. Well, then that's 32% out there, right?
Correct.
So
Correct.
If it's starting to trend the other way, you want to be ahead of that, right? And if I had another college game. I was big on BYU, but because of that line movement, I'm a little leery. It's gone from 5.5 to 4, so that might be a stay away for me.
Okay.
Real quick, I can jump over to the pros.
All right.
And you guys are mostly college, right?
Correct.
Yeah, pretty much.
Correct. But I mean, we might do some NFL. I think we're finally getting into the season enough to learn a little bit. Like I said, I'll do more halftimes NFL, but it's hard for me to get a pick out to people, on halftimes.
Well, I got right. Mm-hmm. Well, I got to say, put Cleveland on an auto fade. Okay.
I love it.
Honestly, that quarterback got sacked not because of the offensive line in that game. He got sacked because he wasn't hitting his hot reads.
Yeah.
Okay. So when the quarterback is not willing to stand in the pocket and take the sack, right, and hit the hot read, or when he starts scrambling too early, I'm telling you, he's Watson. I don't see a future. I don't know what they're going to do. They spent all that money, and this is not the answer. Now they've still got a good defense, but if you're putting the defense back out there with a short field. So I put them on an auto fade. Philly's coming off a bye week. 9.5 is a lot.
Yep.
I like Philly. But I'm a dog guy. And let me give you 2 dogs. And look, dogs are ugly for a reason, right?
Yeah.
But it's hard to back the New England Patriots, especially against the red-hot Houston Texans. But I'm taking that touchdown in the New England game. And there's another one in the late game, Carolina Panthers. Atlanta has got to be the luckiest team in the NFL.
Okay.
I'm telling you, the games that they have won have been luck. They won a game without scoring an offensive touchdown.
Yep.
So give me Carolina, and they're at +6. So and also, hey, just because I drew it up. I believe in luck. There's nothing wrong with believing in a little luck.
No
I'm taking this Niners 7-12, Jacksonville 1-6, Green Bay 1-6 for $10 pays $1,000.
There we go. I love
Get
it.
him, Keith.
I love it, Keith.
I love it too, Keith.
Yeah, that's good stuff, man. We
Dude,
appreciate
you were awesome, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff. We're gonna have you back on as much as you want to, and look, we're gonna get some of this stuff out. We hope the audience listens. And, just keep on doing what we do. And we appreciate you, Keith.
Thanks so much for having me, guys.
Next week, partner.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
See you, buddy. Bye. All right, Keith. Keith just left, man. That was good stuff.
That was awesome, man.
Good stuff. We got a guy that runs a sports book. He sees a lot, and that was the whole point. We're trying to help our audience.
Yeah.
In any way we can with sports betting, because like we say all the time, it's huge now. So listen to whatever part that might be helpful to you. And there's just a lot of good stuff he said and what we said, and we're going to give you some good picks. Only other thing I wanted to touch on was our $1 million challenge. We got somebody hunting it. We got Kingpin. He's going to be up to betting right at 25,000 this week. So that ticket's going to come back right around 20-something thousand. You know,
he'll be up over 50.
He'll be right at 50. Right at 50. So we'll post
Which is
it.
pick 6.
It's going to be pick 6.
Okay.
It'll be 6 in a row.
So
for
7 in a row gets you to 100,000.
Correct. Right at 100.
We're going to see if anybody has the balls to go past that, or if they're going to take their 80 and cash out.
Correct. I think Kingpin's got the balls, but we'll see. But we'll be posting that. You know, good little episode. It's just pretty much all sports talk here, but we're right in the mix, man. It's the best time of year. We got playoff baseball. We got college football hitting
every
up.
night.
We got NFL finally getting mid-season, getting a feel for it.
College basketball's right around the corner.
Right around the corner. Weather's getting right. I mean, it doesn't get much better. We've got some golf content we're about to do. I told you we got some big news coming. Big news coming with a guy, and it's going to be fun. And now, you know, again, Haik, thank y'all so much.
Yes.
You know, being a sponsor of this show, and you know, we got good things coming. This is going to be fun.
Watch out for our boy Hunter Logan at Q School next week. He starts in Mississippi at Jackson at Lake Caroline.
Correct.
Randy Watkins track. Shout out to Randy. That's awesome getting Q School back in Jackson, Mississippi. So we go PGA Tour event, Q School, back-to-back weeks right here in Jackson, Mississippi.
Yeah,
man, that's pretty
Braden
cool.
Thornberry, congratulations, Mississippi boy.
Yep.
We reached out to him about doing the Break 50. He's messaged back. I don't know if we'll do it, but he's definitely messaged back. And now that he's getting his PGA Tour card, it might be a little bit different of when we can do it. But congratulations to him, Mississippi boy, going to the PGA Tour.
Yep. Man, everybody go out and see the boys at Haik and get you a new car, man.
Yeah.
They'll put you in one in about, 30 minutes?
Yeah. And it'll be a good experience, I promise you. And make sure y'all go out there and see him. All right, buddy. That was good. That was good stuff, man. We'll y'all be looking for the predictions and everything, and we'll see y'all soon. Out.